eyes, Grace had smiled at Lily. The smile had been cold and triumphant, and was the worst thing Lily had ever seen in her life. But that was the image that spurred her on. It was the rage that it incited which would help her get through this awful time, that would keep her strong enough to fight the overwhelming sense of pain and fear and other weakening emotions. Because now was not the time to be weak. Now was the time to stay strong and work out what their next move would be. A knock on the door roused Lily from her dark thoughts. Her son Killian walked in. Closing the door behind him and blocking out the hum of general chatter and noise from the hospital hallway beyond. He sat down next to his mother in the other high-backed wooden armchair beside the bed. The steady beats of the heart monitor filled the long silence as they both stared at the burned, lifeless-looking girl hooked up to it. "Any change?" Killian asked. "Not yet," Lily answered. When the firefighters had finally managed to get to the office where Lily had seen Ruby, they'd almost been too late. She had already passed out from smoke inhalation, and the fire had blown through the door as they tried to move her out. Her back had taken the brunt of the explosion, but the flames had caught her neck and one side of her face too. If she pulled through, and it wasn't the strongest if, she'd be scarred for life. Lily reached forward and stroked her forehead, careful not to touch her burned cheek. Her fingers moved over her hair, resting on the singed ends of her tight red curls. "I want you to get Roxanne in here tonight," she said suddenly. "What?" "Roxanne, from the salon. Tell her to bring her scissors. This side of Ruby's hair is all burned. She'll need to cut it shorter to neaten it out and make it look nice." Killian frowned. "Mum, I really don't think Ruby's hair is our priority right now." "If Ruby wakes up," Lily snapped, then paused. "When Ruby wakes up," she corrected. "She's going to have a lot to process. She's got to deal with what's happened and with her burns. The last thing she needs is to see her hair half burned off, too." She exhaled exasperatedly. "We're just sitting here, waiting. Her hands flew up into the air and then back down into her lap defeatedly. Killian was quiet for a moment, and then nodded. "Okay, I'll sort it." Lily nodded. She knew that this wasn't their biggest priority. Of course it wasn't. But she needed the distraction. Every second that passed with Ruby still lost to them in this coma felt like a decade. Every second added to her mounting fear that her daughter would never wake up. The doctors had said only time would tell. The smoke inhalation had done a lot more damage than Lily had previously thought possible. There was a good chance she'd wake up and start down the path of recovery, but there was also a good chance that she'd never wake up at all. She felt like wringing the doctors' necks at one point, as no matter how many questions she asked, they were never directly answered. All they kept saying was that they would monitor her, and that they'd just have to see how things went. "We need to talk about Grace," Killian said quietly. "What is there to say?" Lily asked, staring bleakly into Ruby's ravaged face. "What are we going to do about her?" he responded. "What she's done needs to be answered for." "And she will answer for it," Lily replied. "How?" Killian turned to face her. "Tell me how, and we'll sort it." Lily's jaw clenched as she watched Ruby's frail chest rise and fall in time with the beeps of the heart monitor. "I can't tell you how yet. It depends." "On what?" "On whether your sister lives or dies."